We are watching New York City this hour. Breaking news just moments ago. U.S. President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has just been sentenced to 3 years in prison. Cohen pleaded guilty in August to dodging taxes, lying to Congress, and violating campaign finance laws. For the latest now, we go to CBC's Stephen D'Souza, who is in New York. So, Stephen, tell us what happened.
Well, Natasha, I was just in the courtroom, and it was a very interesting scene. As you know, for the longest time, the story has been, does Michael Cohen perhaps have any loyalty left to the President of the United States, to Donald Trump? Well, that question was answered quite firmly when Michael Cohen spoke for about 10 minutes just before he was sentenced. He said that the biggest mistake of his life was working for Donald Trump, that he said he's been in personal and mental incarceration since he accepted the job working for Trump, and that he now knows that a man he once admired, he now knows, and he said in court today that there is little to be admired about the President of the United States. He said that he was weak and loyal to the President, and that for years he covered up the President's dirty deeds, and he asked the court for leniency, saying that he has cooperated with the special counsel and he has cooperated with the Southern District of New York. And in fact, I believe he actually just came out now and did just drive away. He isn't going directly to jail just yet. I'll get to that in a second. But the judge was weighing a sentencing submission from Cohen's defense where they called for no jail time at all because of his cooperation, while prosecutors had said, yes, he has cooperated with the special counsel's Russia investigation, but he does not deserve he does deserve a substantial amount of jail time. And so on the high end of things, he was looking at up to about just over 5 years in jail, and the judge said it was important to send a message with this sentence, which is why he was given 3 years in jail for his crimes.
Stephen, while you were speaking to us, Michael Cohen was walking out of the courtroom, and it was a chaotic scene. We're just going to play it again for our audience at home now. There is Michael Cohen, of course, President Trump's former lawyer, who has just been sentenced to 3 years in prison. He had pleaded guilty earlier in the year to a number of charges, including tax evasion and campaign finance laws that he had broken. His lawyers were saying he shouldn't get any prison time because he was cooperating with the Mueller Russia investigation, but that didn't quite work out. He is now going to prison for 3 years. So, Stephen, let's go back to where you are. Let's figure out what happens from this point forward.
Well, what happens next is Michael Cohen actually gets to leave, as you saw, gets to leave right now, but he'll be having to check into prison on March 6th. But what's interesting, though, is that on the issue of cooperation, which his lawyer spent quite a bit of time, he says he will continue to cooperate, and he does want to offer cooperation. He said the president calls him weak. The only time he showed weakness, he said, was not standing up to the president and continuing to do his dirty deeds. Michael Cohen said in court today that history will not remember me as the villain of his story, him being the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Cohen says he's paid a heavy price for going against the president, but he felt that ultimately his family and country comes first.
Stephen, we understand Cohen has been put into a car, quickly whisked away, we presume, to his home until he has to come back to the court. CBC's Stephen D'Souza in New York. Thank you so much.